Hey guys, SoCal Hunter here, and I just got a request from a subscriber or viewer that asked me to do a video on what it takes to go through the entire process of hunting ducks, basically in California, but specifically Southern California, from the registration and licensing process. So I'm actually going to walk you through it right now. So guys and gals who don't hunt in California, you can stop watching. But if you do and you want to know how to do it, there weren't a lot of great videos when I was looking around on how to do it. It was a little trial by error, and the hunter safety class is supposed to show you how to do it, but not everyone pays attention to that process because there's 12 steps. So let's do that right now. I'm going to walk you through the process of how to get your license and how to make reservations on the wildlife management areas. Stay tuned. Okay, so most of the process can be done online. I will post all of the links to the websites I show you today, but the first one you're going to want to get familiar with is wildlife.ca.gov. That's where you're going to be able to complete actually 90% of the tasks I'm going to show you today. You're going to go ahead and click on hunting, and then step one is to get that hunter education course, as well as review all the regulations, which they do in the course. But step one to hunt in California is you need a hunter education license. There are two ways to get it. One is the traditional all-day course model where you're sitting in a classroom with instructors. The second option is to do half of it online and half of it in a class. At the end of the day, there's a 100-question quiz, and you need to get 80 of them correct or better. And they do give you a guide, not a cheat sheet, but a study guide to help you throughout that class. Okay, step one. Step two then is to create one of those profiles. So when we're done with completing our training, now we have this little piece of paper that says, all right, now you have the ability to go and hunt. Let's go buy licenses. So the next place you're going to want to go is here where it says licenses and permits. So right away you're going to see that they kind of help you through the process. So there's a big link right here that says buy a license tag, validation, or report card. Okay, great. So you'll start here, and then as you get more familiar, you'll start going to other places. But I'm just showing you the basics just to get up and running. So to set up a license, an online licensing system, you need to create a profile. So the first time you do this, you're actually going to fill in the information that you gave them for the hunter education course. So once you've given them all that information, they automatically put it in the wildlife licensing system for you. So all you have to do is search for yourself, and once you find it, it'll help you finish the profile and give you something called a Go ID. So the Go ID is what identifies you as the hunter. Okay, so this URL here actually helps you when you're done with your hunter education to go and get that Go ID, and you log in with that Go ID, and that tells the state of California who you are, because there's a lot of John Smiths out there. So this is the unique identifier, not having to use your social security number. Okay, so once I've done that, I can actually go in and fill out this information. Now that I've logged in, you're taken to this page here, and I'm hiding my personal information for obvious reasons, but you'll come to a site that, and by the way, you can do this at any location that sells licenses. So Walmart, sells the, what I'm going to show you here, Big 5 Sporting Goods, Turner's, etc. They sell these for you. But if you want to do it online and have Department of Fish and Game just send it to you in the mail, you can do it this way. It's nice and easy, credit card done. So there are lots of options for you on this site once you've created your profile. You can purchase various licenses. If you get a deer, you can do a harvest reporting for that. But specifically for the request I got was to how do I apply for specific waterfowl locations. So the website I want to show you is here, and I'll give you this link as well. This page gives you all the waterfowl reservation locations that the state runs. So these are the wildlife management areas, right? The WMAs. You'll hear that quite a bit, the WMAs. And this is where you can go to reserve, and you can pick. Now, there's a concept here called Type A area. Just know that if you're a duck hunter, you're going to want Type A, because those are the only ones you're going to get a shot at a duck. And each one of these state-run WMAs have different ways to register and refill, and how you check in the morning. So get familiar with this list here, because it's quite important, and there are actually surprisingly quite a few areas for you to choose from. The Sacramento area alone has 3 or 4 that are definitely worth a trip if you live in Sacramento. But in my case, the 2 locations that are closest to me are the San Jacinto wildlife area, as well as Worcester next to the Salton Sea. Those 2 locations are where I go to hunt ducks, and they are very different on the process. Okay, so get familiar with the process, and it shows you how to do that right here on this page. But once you've gone and determined where it is you want to go, you will then get to register on a calendar for the various days that you think you're going to be able to hunt. Okay, and this is what we call the registration system. So you will actually be selecting, and I'll go through that with you now. You'll be selecting on a calendar and be clicking little radio buttons what days you'd like to submit your name to go into the pool of names for almost like a raffle, where they will then select the first however many blinds they have, right? So it's random. You have no way of knowing. And as you can see, by so far this year in 2017, I've been unsuccessful in every single registration lottery. Okay, not one. I haven't hit one. Okay, and you pay about $1.34 per slot. Okay, that you're paying the state. Basically, it's another way for them to get revenue to maintain these things. There's lots of money that goes into duck hunting. That's a whole nother video. So if you don't get a reservation, there's another step. So there's a term you're going to hear by many of the veteran duck hunters out there, and it's called the sweat line. So like I mentioned earlier, if you didn't get your reservation, didn't get selected for a reservation, there is a plan B. And that is to show up on the morning of Wednesday, Saturday, and some locations Sunday, and get in a line and put your name on a list. So what happens is you fill out your name on a list, or all the names of your hunting group, and right at the time they say, and that website that I showed you gives you the time. So most of them are 3 a.m. Some are different, but in this case, I'll give an example of San Jacinto, for example, by Lake Paris. So they want you there at 3 o'clock, and if you've never hunted before, you're a first-time hunter in Southern California, be there right at 3, park, and listen to Tom talk about how it works at that WMA. Each WMA is different from rules and regulations, what you can and can't do, and all that. But he'll give you all the details around that, and then he'll say, all right, everyone who doesn't have a reservation, sign up in the sweat line. Great, you'll sign up, and then you can basically sleep until 3:45, go back to your truck, do whatever, hang out, talk to the locals around there. And what happens at 3:45-ish in most of these locations is they will post a sheet that looks like this, okay? And this sheet, and there's a lot of names. So what happens is every line item in your sign-in sheet has a number next to it. So the first guy in line will sign his name. Second guy in line will sign his name. That number is your number. So number 1, that's your number. Second guy is number 2. Third guy is number 3. Fourth guy is number 4. Get it? So what happens is they take those numbers and they shuffle them up in a computer magical program, whatever. It used to be paper, guys, and guys would totally cheat and like fold the half. So it used to be paper-based, but now they're doing a computer. And what happens is Josh or one of the guys working there, in my example, will take a sheet like this, post it on the window. We're all standing outside. They're in the nice, comfy, warm inside where you're doing all your licensing info. But they'll post a sheet like this. So it'll say, okay, the first, so back up. If all 50 or 60 reservations show up, I got 50 duck blinds at my WMA, and all 50 groups show up, you're out. You gotta wait. And there's a process called the refill, and I'll get into that. But if all 50 show up, the sweat line is waiting for one of those reservations to hit their limit. You know, I mean, shooting times anywhere from 6 to 6:30, right? 6:45 even. So when they get 7, they're done. Or if it's a single hunter, or if the group, all 3 of them, 4 of them, whatever, get 7, they're done for the day. And that could be 7, 8 in the morning. So they go back, check in their ducks, and they're on their way. Well, that blind is now open for the first person on the sweat line. Now, if the reservations don't fill, like guys don't show up, you're guaranteed a spot in that no-show. So if there are 50 blinds and 10 resis don't show up, the first 10 numbers are going to get a spot. Great spots? No. But they're going to be something because you go to the end, right? So how this works is that the first person on the sweat line is number 21. So the 21st guy who signed in gets the first next available blind that either a reservation didn't show or it's a refill and guys are done. Okay? Does that make sense? So the sweat line basically is, it doesn't matter what order you are on the initial list. Starting at 3 a.m., you fill it out. I mean, I've seen a sweat line list of 90 names. 90 guys are sweat lining it. Usually it's over the holiday. Don't even bother hunting over the holidays. It's a joke. But if you're, Wednesday, Saturday, January 10th, 12th, 14th, something like that, people are back at work, it's a good shot. You're going to have a good chance. There's going to be no-shows. Or the reservations just didn't fill in. So this is a way for us to accommodate that. So the 21st guy who is in line gets the first or next available blind. And they just go down this list, okay, until all the blinds are full, right? So if 10 reservations didn't show up, the first 10 sweaties get to go, okay? Now, tricks of the trade, things that I've learned. You're never going to have a bunch of reservations not show. So you've got 2 options. If you're way down here, so for example, last Saturday, I got 41st in the sweat line. It went from 1 to 60, and I was 41. There's no way I'm getting on until the afternoon, right? So that means guys are going out who filled in for the no-shows, and then refills are going out, and then maybe 1, 2 o'clock, the refilled guys are done. Forget it. By then the ducks are like, what the heck's going on today? There are guns everywhere. I mean, for a first-time hunter in a WMA, when that horn goes off, it is like a full-on 4th of July fireworks show in the dark. So it's 100 shotguns from ducks who are coming into the decoys or whatever. So it's an interesting first-time experience. But if you get down to that 41, go quail hunting. Forget it. The ducks aren't going to be there. If you drove a long way, don't do it unless you got a reservation. Sweat line are for guys who are willing to be able to go in, See if they get a good draw. If not, they're out. Some guys will wait. If you're like 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, maybe you want to refill because the first blind done means the ducks were there and it's a hot blind. So he got 7, he's done. It's 7:30, 8 in the morning. Maybe it's cloudy, maybe the weather's just right. I would stick around. Okay, bring breakfast, take a nap, sleep, do whatever. You know, if you get way down on the sweat line list, you can forget it. I mean, obviously, the reservations are gold. You're guaranteed a spot. So go through the process I just showed. If you have any questions for me, you can private message me if you're a subscriber, or you can put them in the comments. And hopefully this helped you with a little bit of the how-to. I know I was kind of showing you a bunch of different things, but they're supposed to do this in your hunter safety course. But for waterfowl, the hunter safety course covers everything, deer and everything. So on waterfowl, it's a very specific process. Someday, I will have another video that talks about the outrageous cost. And some of you old timers, don't tell me that the WMAs need a ton of money to maintain and water in California and all that. I got secrets behind some of that, but it's a ton of money to hunt ducks in California. A ton. Okay? So anyway, this is SoCal Hunter. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you got something out of this.